These are the funniest faces on TV. Welcome to Watch Mojo UK, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 greatest British comedy characters of all time.
And he said, that's sad. You want to upgrade. And I said, so do you, to a new face.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we'll be taking a look at Britain's biggest TV comedies and picking the funniest, most memorable and most iconic characters from their lineups. And just to be clear, we are sticking to just one character per show and one entry per actor. Number 10, Super Hans, Peep Show.
Right, well, let's crack on.
Don't say crack, Jez, yeah? Please, not now. Because you saying crack makes me think about crack, and I love crack. So can you not say crack?
A bohemian recreational drug user who's either spitting out strangely insightful life lessons, talking utter rubbish, Super Hans is the inadvertently hilarious friend of Jez and Mark.
I've been down enough bloody city boy chain pubs with their logos in the foam and disinfectant in the lager, air freshener in the mayo.
Whether he's laying down some experimental music or trying his very hardest to come off the crack, Matt King's Hans is by far the funniest character in the show, and he never fails to shake things up at a moment's notice.
But if you're tripping, you're having a baby, it's like, you know, you see a little guy come out of there, what's going to happen next?
We may not like to admit it, but he's quite relatable at times too.
You alright?
Jez, can you tell me, as a mate, someone that knows me really well, is the bottom half of me on fire?
No.
Thanks.
Number 9, Hyacinth Bucket, keeping up appearances.
Do I sound like a Chinese takeaway?
The seminal social climber, Hyacinth Bucket, was the height of high society, or at least she thought she was.
Look, I must warn you, you're speaking to a white slimline telephone within the precincts of a clergyman. And a very merry Chinese New Year to you too.
Always looking for an opportunity to boast and to prove that she is worthy of her posh but fake accent, Bucket, or is that bouquet, was central to some of the most memorable scenes in 90s comedy. Forever gloating about her latest purchases, always trying to hide her true heritage and generally annoying the life out of her husband, she was a real one-off.
I warn you, I'm not Chinese.
Number 8, Malcolm Tucker, The Thick of It. You think you've been berated at work? You don't know the half of it. Tasked with managing the social perception of the Department of Social Affairs and Citizenship, Malcolm Tucker is always boiling with rage, brimming with swear words, and ready to snap at absolutely anyone who gets on his wrong side.
Listen, you know what I have got at the back of my pilot camera? I've got a photograph that I've been waiting for a rainy day to show everyone, which is a photograph of your Shadow Chancellor at one of his parties, dressed up in bra, suspenders, and blackface. Brought to eye-bulging life by Peter Capaldi, Tucker's outrageous aggression is what sets him apart. If this bloke smiles at you, prepare for one hell of a dressing down.
Gone, apparently lost in the computer.
Number 7, Rick, The Young Ones.
Why don't you like me? Because you're a complete bastard.
Poet, motivational speaker, anarchist. Well, that's what he calls himself anyway. One of 4 students living in squalid accommodation, Rick routinely proves himself to be the loser of the group, although he'll never admit it.
You spiteful little bastard, Neil! Just because you've done loads and loads of work for this, just because you're a creepy little swat, you've done about 50 million tons worth of work, just like a girl, and just because I'm so hard and straight and cool, that I've done absolutely bugger all, and you've done loads, look at it! Loads!
He's usually off the mark when it comes to intellectual conversation, and he's also excruciatingly annoying, but we can't help but love him. We might have included many a Rick male character today, but this guy best conveys the comic's larger and louder than life style.
Can you, actually kill yourself with laxative pills?
Number 6, Lou and Andy, Little Britain.
But I want to go on it now.
It'll blow away.
I am willing to take that risk.
This sketch show has produced a long list of genius characters, but Lou and Andy are a standout pair. Played by the show's creators, David Walliams and Matt Lucas, their sketches revolved around Andy's wheelchair and his tendency to vacate it.
Dear Savior and Lord, we ask for a miracle today to help this child walk. We ask you to bring life to his fat and useless limbs. Thank you, Lord, for your kindness this day.
Lou is none the wiser, of course. Cracking us up every time they were on screen, their exploits went beyond the show itself, as the double act also popped up on TV adverts and in various sketches for comic relief. Today, they're instantly recognisable, and they're two of the UK's best-loved characters.
That was exhilarating, wasn't it?
Pardon?
Number 5, Alan Partridge. I'm Alan Partridge.
Thought that'd fill you. Right.
A serial supplier of bad TV and radio, Alan Partridge is the naff presenter who will offend just about anyone. The Steve Coogan character did feature in other shows, but it was the I'm Alan Partridge series that really let Partridge spread his wings. Whether he's belittling his assistant, hosting a graveyard radio shift, or trying, and failing, to flag down a friend.
Dan! 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 Dan!
You can always rely on Alan to deliver a unique brand of awkward comedy and to have the last laugh.
That was classic intercourse. So thanks.
Number 4, Mr. Bean. Mr. Bean. A weird and wonderful invention of Rowan Atkinson's, Mr. Bean is a bona fide comedy icon. Turning everyday activities into a farcical free-for-all, his antics can be quite frustrating to watch, but they're hysterical all the same. While other Atkinson characters were in contention for this countdown, Bean takes physical comedy to a whole new level. His sketches speak for themselves, even if he doesn't. Number 3, David Brent, The Office.
Hello.
Let's get you sat down.
Okay.
No, I've got one over here. Ready?
A blueprint for cringe comedy, few British shows have earned acclaim comparable to The Office.
A sergeant major spends all his time training his men to be killers. He doesn't polish his own boots. He probably does polish his own boots, but, you know, it doesn't mean I have to do my own filing.
Fronted by Ricky Gervais's David Brent, this mockumentary series centres on employees at a paper company and the uncomfortable day-to-day situations that arise, with Brent usually at the heart of all that is awkward. Sexist jokes, casual racism, no sense of personal space, and certainly no control over his indoor voice, Brent is a masterclass in comic timing.
Black or white, the spaceman he answered, you no longer mind. I've opened your eyes, you're now colourblind. Racial.
Number 2, Derek Delboy Trotter, Only Fools and Horses.
I think we're on a winner here, Tree. All right? Play it nice and cool, son. Nice and cool, you know what I mean?
We Brits love an underdog story, don't we? Although Only Fools is littered with cracking characters, our vote has to go to David Jason's Delboy, the 24-carat wannabe yuppie.
Derek Trotter, you may remember me. I wrote to you some time ago about... Dale! Let's go!
With an answer for everything, hooky goods for everyone, and an aspiring brother at his side, he's the wheeler dealer that's had us in stitches more times than we can count. From buying faulty dolls to falling at the bar, his comedy is gold, even if his jewellery isn't.
Brace yourself, Rodney. Brace yourself.
Number 1, Basil Fawlty, Fawlty Towers.
I'm gonna give you a damn good thrashing!
It may have only ran for 12 episodes, but Fawlty Towers has had a lasting impact. Following the daily shambles at a hotel in Torquay, all of the show's characters are timeless and endlessly quotable, but it's John Cleese's Basil that musters up the most laughs.
I expect to be able to see the sea. You can see the sea. It's over there between the land and the sky. I need a telescope to see that. Well, may I suggest that you consider moving to a hotel closer to the sea? Or preferably in it.
Frequently crashing around the hotel like a madman and getting into heated debates with his guests, it's Cleese turned up to 11. His hapless go-getter routine is often copied, but never bettered. He is our king of comedy.
Have you any idea of how much there is to do? Do you ever think of that? Of course not. You're too busy sticking your noses into every corner, poking about for things to complain about, aren't you?
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from Watch Mojo UK and subscribe for more great content.